Hello, and welcome to Relatable Bitches podcast. I'm your host, Heinna.
And I'm your host, Marj. We're so excited to have you here with us today.
This is the space where we will dive into all the messy, beautiful, and totally relatable aspects of life. From family and friends to career struggles and everything in between. We're here to keep it real and have some fun.
That's right. Our goal is to create a community where we can laugh, cry, and feel understood. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of the Relatable Bitches podcast. I am your host, Marj.
And I'm Heinna.
So today we have a very special guest with us, Sarah Proia. I hope I said that correctly. If I haven't, I will practice it until I get it right. She's a mother, an author, and all around a relatable bitch. We are so happy to have you with us today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, ladies. I really enjoy your company thus far, and we're just getting started.
I just have to start off by I read your book.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my God. I downloaded it when we actually spoke a couple of weeks back. And then I'd read, I think like the first, maybe the first like 4 or 5 pages, and I got distracted and sidetracked. And then last night in preparation for this, I remembered, I was like, damn it, I still haven't read the book. And I remember that you said it only takes about an hour to read. So I was like, husband, hush, dogs, stop. I need focus. And I did. I got through it in about an hour and 15 minutes. And I put it down and just went, okay, I need to wake up in the morning and go back to my little ritual of, gratefulness, mindfulness, set my intentions for the day. It's something that I used to do previously. And somewhere along the track, I just stopped doing it. So it was nice to have that little bit of a reminder. And I really, really enjoyed reading your book. It was really interesting. The first couple of pages hits you like a smack in the face, but it was really, really good. It got me really like hooked and intrigued, and it was an amazing read. If for those of you that don't know, she has a book called Reality Designer. I highly recommend that you download it from Amazon. You can get it on Kindle as well, so you can have it easily accessible on your phone, iPad, whatever device you want to download it on. It is a quick read, highly, highly recommend. It just highlights your mindset, the fact that you can hit ground zero and still come out on top. You can still climb up that ladder. You don't have to just keep falling to the ground and stay down there. Through our conversations, it's like you've been through so much turmoil. You've been smacked down so many times and you've gotten yourself back up. And I absolutely love that so much. It really is something that I'm like, okay, I know I'm not the only one. It's like, I always feel like it's a struggle to get back up. But you know what? People like you are the reason why we continue to get back up. It's that mindset. It's that reality of, you know what? Sometimes life does hand us a bad deal, but that's not the end of it. You can change your own circumstances by your own thoughts, by your own manifestation. So that was something that like one of my major sort of takeaways from reading your book. One of the actual tidbits, let me grab my phone actually, because one of the things that I actually started going through your book, and you're going to actually see a lot of this coming up on our social media pages, because I started highlighting like things that you wrote in there that were absolutely amazing. And just, you always see people writing like their inspirational quotes and things like that. And I actually started going through highlighting quotes from your book.
Love that, Marj.
You have call to actions in this book, which I absolutely love. Nobody puts call to actions in their books. And I thought that's a really nice way of like just stopping in the middle and just setting a new intention. But for example, here's one that I highlighted. Life is too short to not even attempt to go after the things you dream of. Like that to me just resonated so much. Following your emotions and impulses can open up opportunities beyond your logic.
Absolutely. And a lot of it's like the things that I'm relaying to you, but so caught up in whether it be drama or chasing success, because sometimes we get overwhelmed and we forget those little moments of gratitude or those little moments of courage or how to move forward, whether we're surrounded with once more like traumas, defeat, or even change it's so important to be reminded to go back to that call to action. Wherever you are, just stop. It's not that you don't know. It's that when's the last time no one's going to tell you, hey, sit down. Let's figure this out. Where are you going? I know you're upset, but like, is there anything you're grateful for? Like a lot of times we carry that in ourselves. So I just wanted a lot of those questions are they're supposed to be simple, but they're not. And they're also supposed to be moments where when you get towards the end of the book, it even says part of the call to action is when you're feeling that certain way to come back to this page, written it out. We already know what we're going to do. So let's remember the energy that you're trying to, or the person trying to achieve to be. And let's remember that we came up with a plan for success for this very moment. Now you just need to listen to yourself. Nobody's in your head telling you like, don't forget about what you already told yourself. Like you have to constantly remind yourself when you have going on around you. We forget to check back in with ourselves. So it's like just a nice way to remember our intention and goal and where we're trying to go.
Yeah. Like self-awareness.
No, definitely.
Right.
Yeah. I've spoken to Heinna about this offline, and I was recently talking to my husband and considering potentially going back into the workforce. How do I get a little bit more income coming in? How do another client come to me, or do I get another job? I was going through that sort of, that turmoil in my own brain. And it wasn't until I just went, you know what? It is what it is. I need to let go of this, which one do I choose? And just get through my week, just do the best that I possibly can. And the second that I actually let go of that, worry and stress, that evening I get a call from somebody saying, hey, we're such and such passed your name on to me. We're looking for somebody that can help us with our project management.
That's great.
Like, I am your girl. Bang.
Yeah.
And it was that release. It was like, it is what it is. Just whatever is supposed to come, I'll get a sign for it. And 8 hours later, 7 p.m. at night, I'm getting a phone call because somebody had a chat to somebody else and they were like, oh, I highly recommend. And my name.
Right. Oh, did you get to the part? You said you did read the book. So did you read the part about how we're all magnets, right? Okay. So it's so important. Like when you were saying, like, what am I doing? What be on the right path, but you're like, I'm making all of this progress. I'm doing all the right moves, but I'm still here. But when you sink into that energy, so you might not be saying these things out loud, but in your core, you're feeling where I need to be. So you block yourself because energetically you're telling the universe, I'm not to be. But like you said, you release this thought. We're just going to go with the flow and enjoy life. Right now I'm provided for, with things are working out. What is meant to be will be, and it's not going to pass me by, and poof, you get that phone call. But again, when you are in that state of, I need to do better, I need more opportunity. Now you're just constantly in a state of need, a state of lack, a state of, I need to be better. So all you're going to do is find yourself in situations where you need to be better in order to qualify.
Yeah, correct.
Are you loving the Relatable Bitches podcast? If so, make sure you follow us on socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn, and you should get all the updates on when the new episode drops. All right. Sorry about that, everyone. A little bit of technical difficulties. Very relatable, very relatable. We all have them when the internet does not want to internet. We have some glitches. So we've been doing some tech on our side, but we're back. There's going to be an uncomfortable cut, but it is what it is. This is life. It happens. We move on.
I was gonna ask. It's just that, like you guys, I mean, I don't know everybody's stories into details because even Marge and I, like, we've only known each other like almost a year. Like, no, I think it's probably a year now. So I don't know everything about her, but you kind of hit rock bottom and you're just kind of sitting there. It's just like sometimes, like you said, about having like self-awareness and like reminding yourself, like, hey, it's like it already, your mind is just, it's more of like when you hit rock bottom, what is your choice, right? Like, where do you go from there? Do you pick yourself back up or do you stay in that? And I think this year I've been so stressed. I feel like this is the most stress I've had this year, this past couple of weeks. However, because like you said, you're taking yourself to where you're letting it come in, like things that need to come, things actually came to me more faster and more than I expected because I've let go of that, like you said, that like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, I need this, I need this, I need this, but more of like, okay, it's gonna come when it shall.
Yeah. Well, also like rock bottom is my favorite place. I know that sounds funny, but like
Mm,
that, I mean, there's no movie or story or anything that was like, yeah, life's okay, but I think I just all of a sudden and have the ambition to do something. Like you have to hit rock bottom. And
yeah.
there's this phrase I heard and it stuck with me, and it was, life is like a bouncy ball, right? Like
Mm.
the harder you throw that bouncy ball at rock bottom, the higher you're then able to bounce back and
Ah,
rise. And that's something that really stuck with me throughohout my self-development too. Rock bottom is like, it's an awful but beautiful place to be.
oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. No, I love that.
Yep. One of the things that you had mentioned was that pain always has a purpose. That was something that we had discussed in a
Yeah.
previous conversation that we had. And I
Mm.
absolutely love that because I that's something that I've always lived by. It's like, people ask me all the time, it's like, do you have any regrets? And I used to have to think about it. And now it's an automatic no.
Mm.
No, I don't regret the things that I don't regret anything that I'd been through, the good, the bad,
Mm.
because it's made me who I am today. I am stronger because of the things
Yes.
that have happened, the painful things that I've gone through
Yep, yep, yep.
has made me into the human that I am today. And I'm so proud of who I am today. I'm so happy for who I
Mm.
am today. There's been so much growth in my life that it's like I do feel like I had to go through those things in
Mm.
order to be who I am. Otherwise, I probably would have been another entitled, millennial. That's how I would have been seen.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to have. It's not nice to go through those things. It's not nice to have trauma in your life. It's not nice to, to have pain. But I feel like it is actually necessary for you to grow. You can't turn around and go, "Oh yeah, I've been through so much stuff." When you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth and you've had petals thrown at your feet your entire lifetime and have literally not needed to struggle or not had any struggles or not been through any pain, not understanding what loss is.
Yeah,
So
no, there was this one day I was in my car and I was like, um I first of all, I think that when we're driving, we go into it's true. We go into a state of hypnosis. That's not just something I
yeah.
think. That is it's true. Have you
Mm.
ever been driving and all of a sudden, you start driving, you're going home, and poof, you're there, but you don't remember stopping any lights. You don't remember. It's because
Like,
your brain
how
goes
did I
into
get here?
autopilot. Yes, your brain goes into autopilot. So automatically, you see the red light. Your body knows what to do, how to respond, and
Mm.
when your mind is in autopilot like that, we're able
Mm.
to then get these I call them downloads, like spirit messages. So like I'm sure in those times where you just like got home, you're like, oh shoot, how did I get here? You were probably deep in thought in something else. You were actually having a conversation with your higher self that was relaying information to you during a time where you were busy focusing on one thing enough
Yeah.
to shut your brain up for once for spirit
Mm.
to really make the connections. So I was driving this one day and I started crying, and I hate to say it like this, but yes, I miss my father. My father was murdered in front of me when I was a young teenager, and I miss him. And I would have loved for him to be a part of my life. I would have loved to have, things go a certain way. I would have loved to have been able to go to college and all these things. But then, like I said, I was in the car and I just started crying. And I was like, if it was almost like I'm not going to say my dad sacrificed himself for my growth. but if like in the grand scheme of things, if that didn't play out divinely the way it was orchestrated, I would not be the person who can tell others who can't afford college that, hey, you can become an author. I only have a high school degree. I'm an author. It was a best-selling international book. And I only have a high school diploma. You can do it too. You are capable. You can do anything. It's if I didn't grow up in a house full of drug addiction and mental health, I wouldn't be so well versed in the coping mechanisms that I encourage my following to absorb. It's not about, it's not about the recognition. The whole point to why I started doing what I was doing was I knew what it felt like to hurt. And I wanted to better myself, but I didn't have the resources. I needed a me. And so now I show up for these other people who remind me, like it's almost like a healing for me too, because I'm showing up for the people that needed a me too. And again, if I didn't go through these things, I wouldn't be able to spark these ideas, the self-belief, this remembrance of who we are on a soulful level. Whereas, I'm one out of 6 kids. We all went different directions. I have a big family. My father was 1 out of 9. We all have different strokes. And I'm not saying like what I do is better or worse than anybody else's, but we all went through certain things where we are able to give into our communities the way that we were divinely planned to, and without the way that we were handed things or the way like that we struggled, we wouldn't have our passions, and we wouldn't be able. So yeah, like everything that has ever caused you pain was not for punishment or discipline from your higher power. It was with purpose. It was for your growth. It was to inspire and transform.
Do you feel like it's because this is something again I'm exploring. It's more of like there's a bigger purpose, right? Like I feel like everybody's part of the world. And that movie Lion King, it's part of the circle of life. Like everybody has a meaning of what, like there's going to be sacrifices made or things that are going to happen. Like, you have like in animals, you have to eat the animal to survive, and that helps you this. And it's like a trickle effect. Mainly it's just that, like, I think what we're all trying to say is just like things are happening and you just accept it to where it's just like, of course there's things that you can take action, and you hear that all the time. It sounds cliche, right? You could only do what you can do, like you let things happen or not, but it's part of like this like, how do you say
synchronicity?
Yeah, because I totally understand and resonate with you said about your dad. Like my dad passed away like a couple years ago, and I feel like when he passed, there was this big like thing over me. Like I feel more protected. Not in this, like you said, it's not that he passed away to like guide me or whatnot, but it was like more of like an eye opening. And now I feel more than ever there's more for me to do or more for me to share. And I feel like that was like everything trickles to that. So it's like I had to go through all these things in life and pain and all that stuff because my purpose is this bigger thing, and it's for better for something else. It's a bigger than me, to be quite honest.
Dad does that. Like, so I do tarot, and the death card. I'll be doing tarot, and the death card comes out, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Like, am I safe? Like, I got I'm like, no. So yeah, it's not about that. So in America, the fall, autumn, is it's the most beautiful time of the year for me, in my opinion. All the trees, they change colors. The foliage is something to truly admire. But what people forget is the only reason those colors are popping are because those leaves are dying. If they were getting the nutrients and what they needed to truly thrive, they would be green. That's the whole science of it. Then they die, and their death is something to awe over. Then they fall off the tree. So like a bit of like, their life is just between both the tree and the leaf. They're disconnected. They're not in a normal whatever, but then the leaves decompose, go back into the soil, and allow to then once more nourish the life source that the leaves lived on originally. So death is a beautiful, beautiful, like, and I'm speaking about with people too, because you're like, oh, I know that he didn't, die, and it's just to make me feel more protected. But first of all, we are all very important, and divinely guided. And
Mm.
it's so amazing how orchestrated this life is, because when death of a family member, a friend, we have that mourning period. We're
Mm.
expanding our emotion. We are rediscovering appreciation to different aspects of love, of positions in our life. Or I was so busy working, I should have called that day. Or they always sent me birthday cards and I never said thank you. And it's
Sure.
this moment where we get to then once re-evolve through our pain once more. And you're right, then that person who passed joins your spirit team, and they are
Mm.
able to better protect you, guide you, drop little bits of wisdom, or even um, sometimes they give you their memories of moments that you guys had together. I don't know if you're ever just sitting there and you think of a moment that you had with your father. That's literally him speaking to you when you have those memories, and those memories have purpose, and it could
Mm.
be something very simple that you're just like, oh yeah, that was a really nice moment, but you could also have subconsciously an issue that you've been battling with in your own mind. And so spirit doesn't speak in words, so it
Mm.
speaks to you in ways that we can understand. So they'll give you the memory, and the memory is there to, maybe you're unhappy with life, but it's to remind you you are loved. Or
Mm.
funny times, good situations come from nothing. You have to make, like, there's always something there, and it is all for, like we were both saying, like, people don't just die for us, but when they do, it's a beautiful transition into our own soulful journey, and a great new member to our spirit team who's also been timed to join you at that moment for your growth
Yeah. Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah. I love that. It one thing that you had actually written in your book at the very towards the end, you had mentioned. I love, by the way, that you kind of you set the tone like I'm about to scare a lot of people, a lot of you off, but this is sort of my belief system, and and you talk about how there isn't one right religion, there isn't one right way, there isn't. And I love that because that's something that I've always, people ask me, it's like, oh, where do you think you go after death? And my in the past I would have to say maybe 4 or 5 years, my belief has been you go wherever you believe you're going to go. If you believe in heaven and hell, chances are you're going to end up in heaven and hell. If you believe you're going to be reincarnated, chances are you're going to be reincarnated. Like, I just
Mm.
believe that whatever your
Mm.
belief system is what is going to occur afterwards. I am not the one that's going to take away and be like your religion. No, 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 no.
Isn't that a beautiful connection though to like our living in the now? Like what you believe is what is going to happen, is where you're going to go. If you say I'm going to work a 9 to 5 the rest of my life, honey, you're gonna work a 9 to 5 the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Who was it? Henry Ford. He said, whether you think you can or you cannot, either way you are right. Going back to where are you going to go when you pass? What is your expectation of life? What is your expectation of fulfillment? What is your expectation? And you're right.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love that. And see, I know I've received signs from people that have passed and things like that. I now call them my guides.
Mm.
They went from being my friend in in the real world to, well, after they've passed, now they are my guides. I,
Mm.
Mhm.
do feel them around them when, there's very sensitive times. I do feel like they do guide me. I do feel like my grandparents are around me when I truly need them.
Mhm.
I don't feel them around all the time because I don't need them all the time. They don't need
Mm.
to be, guiding me all the time. But when I do feel that I'm not on the right path or that I need some guidance, it's like I do have my moment of prayer where I talk to them and I, say, can give me a sign, show me where to go, what should I be doing? I know, or I just release and go, it is what it is, universe, give to me whatever I need to
Mhm.
receive.
Yeah.
Um, and generally that's when I do see change. Generally that's when things actually happen. When I'm sitting in that negative state of, or stress or anxiety induced sort of
Mm.
fear,
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing happens. I don't go anywhere. Nothing moves. It's like
Mm.
I'm stuck, and a month later I'm still in the same position until I do
Mm.
that release, until I actually say no, guides, help me. what do I do from here? Where do I go? Show me a sign, whatever I may be. I know that the universe works in mysterious ways. I know that, I might put an intention out there and it might not happen. But if I don't put the intention out there, then it will never happen.
Right. Well, here's
So,
another thing. Like, people can think that we are crazy for believing these things. Yet, if you don't want to believe these things, I'm not going to sit here and call you
Yeah.
crazy. If you want to sit
Same,
here and
same.
tell me that what I have to say isn't true, you have that right. And that's
Yeah.
okay. I,
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
hand, I choose to get through in life thinking that it's full of miracles. There are no limitations. And there are things beyond explanation working in my favor. Now, if you want to do it all by yourself and carry the whole world on your shoulders, and you want to,
By all
I
means.
applaud you. I will applaud you. Go ahead, do it
yeah,
all by yourself. Do it all by yourself. But
yeah,
this is what brings me peace. And I believe that my higher power
Yeah.
wants me to live a life that grants me peace. So who am I to deprive you of what brings you peace? You don't want to believe me, that's fine. That's okay.
yeah,
But I'm not going to call you crazy because you want to work harder. Don't call me crazy because I want to trust in the unseen. And sometimes we are so low that all you have is the unseen. That's why
yeah,
church is
Yeah.
actually declared a hospital for sick souls.
Yes.
That's what it is. It's for the broken go there. The broken, the
Correct.
people who have nothing except for that invisible faith. And
Oh, I just got
my
chills as you
invisible,
Me
said that.
too. Yeah.
And
my
it's not because
invisible
I've got the
faith.
fan on.
Yeah.
It's not. I
Yeah,
promise you it's not.
Yeah.
As you said it, I was just like
sometimes all you
chills through my
have
body.
is that.
Yeah.
Right. Because sometimes that's all
Correct.
you literally have to your name. Like, I've had times where I was homeless. There's been so many times where all I had was this invisible faith. And let me tell you, when I was homeless, I never once had to sleep outside. There were times I'd be walking down the street and I'd see a man sleeping on a bench and be like, oh my goodness, that's going to be me tonight. If I don't, God, you better come through. And I will tell you, like, one time I was all the way out in Florida. I didn't know anybody out there. I was not from Florida. How I got there, it's a long story, but I'm walking on the street with no place to go. And all of a sudden, like, oh my God, I'm getting sunburnt. I had been out in the sun all day. It was like 100 and plus degrees out. It was terrible. So I look at my phone and I get a pop up, and it's this girl I went to middle school with, and she's
Oh,
nearby.
wow.
Right. And I was like, oh my, like, I'm from New York. And right now I live in Virginia, but I'm from New York. I didn't know
Yeah.
anybody down south. I see this pop up from this girl from middle school. She's nearby. I send her one of those like little waves. She's like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm in this area. She's like, oh my God, where? Let me pick you up. You have to come and see my son. Come to my house. She let me stay at
Love
her
that.
house. I got connected with some of her friends who introduced me to strangers. Let me tell you, I ended up staying in um, a shared home for women who needed a place to stay. My bedroom had a freaking hot tub in it. It had I had one of those things called those fancy things, bidet. I
Oh,
had a
bidet.
bidet.
Ah.
Oh, honey, like, I'm homeless, and I go from having nothing to
I love
God just
it.
answering miracles, and like I said, never once, because I truly believe it was because I had the faith, and there's nothing more. Because I know people who had been in similar situations with lack of faith that ended up turning to things that worsened their situation. They might have gotten a quick gratification here and there, but it had a cost that I was not willing to pay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think
Yeah.
you guys get it.
Yeah. And I think that's the hardest part
Yeah.
of it all. It's just not the hardest, sorry, the simplest thing, but can be the hardest part is the acceptance that things will be okay. Because for a very long time, I was a very angry bird. I was worrywart. I was like, oh my God, the world's ending, even though it's not, and I, like you said, I didn't get anything when I was in that mindset or that feeling. But this past couple of months, I would say the more and more that I've let things go and believe, like I've gotten more, and I've been more shocked of like, oh my God, things are happening. And like it's so
Mhm.
nice because I think it's more of you get to the point in your life. Again, like I think that you're just like, well, there's this only way from this is only going up. you know, and you just have to have faith. So I think that's amazing that you said that, because I think it's harder to have or to release and not be so crunched up in your situation than actually
Mhm.
releasing. So it took a while, but I think once you get there, that sense of peace, it's such a different, it's hard for me to describe, actually. I want to just say that. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's basically like I've gotten to the okay, so I've gotten to the point where if my manifestations are not coming true, I've discovered there is very good reason, because I have manifested things that I wanted so badly and I got them. And it was I got it. Like I'm talking like, oh, I didn't even say the things that I got, but if I were to say it, uh, there are things with like people with really big names whose attention I got that I really wanted to get, and there were I can't really talk because I didn't release those things in the book, but I'm telling you, like the things that I manifested, we were true, unrealistic, fantastic dreams, but the energy that I put into getting those dreams was a sacrifice to things that were far more important. And those, I got the thing that I wanted. I sure
Mm.
did, but it was not as fulfilling. And I don't think that I think even worse than not getting what you want is getting what you want and realizing what you prioritized over the things that actually mattered. And there are so many times
Yeah.
where
Mm.
I cursed my higher power out for disappointing me, and I was an ungrateful individual at times during my journey. Like I would literally cuss my God out. Like
Yeah.
it was foul. But anyways, now it's to the point where my heart will be aching because we're never fully finished. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm happy all the time. That's not
Yeah.
true. But
Mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm.
I come against these obstacles and hurdles, and instead of being like, why aren't you giving me a break? No, God does give me breaks. I've seen them, and He is working in my favor. So now I cry and I'm like, thank you for this opportunity for redirection.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Correct,
because you
correct,
got
correct.
to look at it like, what am I missing? I'm going to absorb the lesson.
Yeah.
This sucks right now, but I know that you're not making me do it for no
Yeah.
reason. There is a purpose.
Yeah. What sort of advice would you give to people? So I'll give you an example. So I've met a lot of people that will sit there and go, okay, no, I prayed on this. And what they're praying for is, to find somebody that they can spend the rest of their lives with, or to find somebody, it's always something that they want. And then they get really depressed and they go down that rabbit hole of, why am I not good enough? And when I speak to people like that, and my brain always goes, but you got exactly what you asked for. Why are you not
Mm.
grateful for that? Why did you have to move the line? Why did you go from here to, I got this, but now I'm not grateful for that? Now I want more. Now I want more. Now I need more.
Mm, mm,
So
mm,
what
mm,
I've come to terms with, and this is so, because right, our desires have purpose just as equally as
mm.
our pain has
Yeah.
purpose,
Yeah.
right? Like if we didn't have desires, we wouldn't have ambitions. It's our desire
Yeah.
that drives our ambition. But here's the thing: is we're supposed to acknowledge our wants, but remain in gratitude in every moment. So I can
Mm,
acknowledge the thing that it is I want to become. But
mm,
as of right now, I'm enjoying this conversation. We're doing these things. I'm going to do what
mm,
makes me feel good. And that's where we need to stay. Now, going back to tarot, there's the devil card. The devil card represents addiction, desire, lust, toxic thinking. And a lot of times people get addicted to living in a lower vibration where they want to
Mm.
they like I've met so many people who are addicted to sadness, to discontent, like um
mm.
just the world is
Yes.
against me, the world is against me. And then even with love, like you could want, oh God,
Yeah.
why won't you give me a soulmate? Isn't everybody meant for somebody? Like this isn't a mean dream. But here's the thing: is
Yeah.
your desire for love, the desire, the want, the obsession turns into a demon. The devil card in tarot. So it's so important that you know that your wants and your desires are like it goes back to the invisible faith. Those wants and the desires, they come to you with purpose. You are deserving. You are. Now what happens is the negative energies will start to see you rising, but they don't want you to rise. They want you to stay in this energy field. So what are they going to do? They're like the devil doesn't want to see you win. So he's going to send the person who's almost everything God has in store for you or your higher power has in store. But we're going to sacrifice. How much can you take of this thing that's so close to what you deserve? Now I'm going to make you feel unworthy because you're not getting that other half that you do deserve, but you're clinging on to this idea. And that is how we stay in these negative frequencies. It is so important to just acknowledge, release, remain grateful, and and have that invisible faith that if it's not fulfilling you, if you are feeling unworthy, if you are feeling small, that is not of your higher power. That is just not. So you need to continue to release and know that that's just the quote unquote enemy playing tricks on your reality, trying to keep you his and not who you're truly meant to be.
Yeah. And to follow on with that, I also find that these are the exact same people that will limit you or make you believe that you can't achieve better things, that you can't grow, that you can't. They want it for themselves, but the second that you go, oh, I got a promotion at work, they're like, congratulations.
So I'm sure you guys have heard right. I'm sure you guys have heard those terms, narcissist and empath, right?
Narcissist, and what was that?
Empath? Have you heard those dynamics? Okay, those are kind of buzzwords right now. But here's the thing. If we are all magnets and we are all bringing people into our reality that are mirror reflections of us, the empath and the narcissist are literally the same. They both play victim. So the empath can sit here and be like, but I didn't cheat. No, but you know what you did do? You're playing victim. You are emotionally manipulating the situation. You saw that he wasn't coming home at this time and you stayed. You thought your loyalty was going to make a difference in how he was going to behave. No. So it's and they both come from the same place. They come from past trauma. They come from they both condition themselves to be the victim. And I cannot it's just something that once people realize the narcissist isn't the only villain, the fact that you thought that you were deserving, yes, you were deserving of more, but the fact that you know that you're deserving of more and you stuck around until he robbed you blind, sis. That's your fault. Get it together.
You reach a point where it's just like you're doing it to yourself. You know what I mean? There's only so much that you should have taken or could have taken, and you reach that point. And I think once you accept that, which I've done for sure, you realize more that it's like you said, it's that victim thing, like, oh my God, cry me a river type of thing. It's like you could change your situation. You're choosing to sit in this space.
Well, it's also hard because a lot of those people have low stuff. The narcissist, the narcissist pretends to have a big self-worth because their self-esteem is actually so small. Whereas the empath does not pretend to be big, and they just literally do have self-worth. But once more, you said you wanted love, so we brought you in the version of yourself that you needed to meet in order for you to realize how worthy you are on both ends of that spectrum. On both ends, you are both worthy. On both ends, but if you continue to play victim, you will never grow. You have to learn how to accept the lesson on either end. And if you do not change, your life will never change.
Yeah,
exactly. Love that. No, I love that a lot. Yeah,
that is literally spot on. I absolutely love what you just said. I was just reading here one of the things that we had written down, like the authenticity is a superpower. It's like that is so true. You being a sheep, or you following the crowd, or you just doing what everyone else is doing isn't, it just feels like you kind of hit a wall. Like there's only so far that you can go. You need to be authentically you in order to actually grow, in order to actually, see what people see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it sometimes gets really hard, when it came to, for example, COVID, lockdowns, things like that. I, at the time, was working for a place that I didn't realize that I was actually being brainwashed. I was being brainwashed into believing that I should be thankful to have a job while so many people are losing their jobs.
Mm.
I should be thankful that I've been able to keep my employment when so many people are unemployed and losing their homes. I should be thankful that I can pay my rent. I should be thankful to my employer for being able to, adjust so quickly during COVID and make changes. And it's like, hold on, my employer did none of that. You've just brainwashed us into believing that you've done all these things. But in reality, what you were doing was being a narcissist that made everyone beneath you angry, depressed. Majority of us actually got diagnosed with depression and anxiety because of our workplace. I'm not the only one. My wake-up call was when my doctor put antidepressants in front of me as the script for antidepressants and went, if you quit your job, you won't need these.
Oh, I like your doctor.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah.
He actually said that. He goes, you quit your job. And he only gave me a short script because he actually wanted me to quit my job. He knew how toxic it was, that his thing was get out of there, because he could tell. And he said to me, he goes, this isn't you. Like, I don't see you regularly, but I can tell. He's like, your energy's off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your energy is really off. And it's because, I was doing everything to keep my job. I was doing everything to please everybody around me. And that was making me so upset, so depressed, so anxiety riddled that I would go to sleep the evening, like the night before, and I was okay not waking up the next day.
Oh,
Yeah.
Which is
Well, I
so
think
sad, but
that
was like the moment of wake up of, no, I need to go back to being authentically me. That is when I flourish. That is where I grow. That is where I feel, I'm comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
Every single day I'd be like, I'm uncomfortable. Like, my pants feel uncomfortable. My clothes were uncomfortable on my skin, let alone me feeling like, I would be in the shower and it's like I had to exfoliate every single day. Every day. We don't exfoliate every day, but it felt like I needed to scrub at my skin to feel like I wasn't, didn't have that toxic energy around me, didn't have that, heaviness.
It's funny because you were like, oh, well, I should be grateful I have a job. Yeah, I bet you were. You were great. Like, that wasn't, but the thing is, like, the twist of it all is like, I do want a job. I do want to, like, I'm glad I'm so happy I can take care of my home and all of these things. But okay, for instance, before I got into all of this, I actually did, despite my appearance now, I was a bodybuilder at one point. I did personal training, and I had lost a significant amount of weight, and I became a personal trainer, and I actually ended up being like #1 in sales, like for memberships and personal training at several different gyms in the entire state of New York. Like, I was doing really well, and I was inspiring people. But here's the thing: is I was single momming. I was having a hard time, like, juggling all this stuff. I started, like, I was a functional alcoholic, meaning I would go to work, I would mom when my kid was in bed and I'm off the clock. I was just drinking to turn my brain off because it hurt. It hurt so bad. And I believe that addiction is only a symptom of something much more deeply rooted. So then I get over this, like, addiction thing. I start being more authentic, and I start going in my direction. Now, once more, I got this internet TV show, and I'm once more an inspiration and a motivational speaker, and once more, these names. But then my little sister passed away, and I was depressed, and I felt I had to stop my show because I was like, how dare I encourage anybody to be happy when I'm mourning, I'm grieving, I am hurting. So I stopped my show, and I actually went over to TikTok to hide. Like, I'm an old lady, in my opinion. I'm in, my mid-30s. A lot of my age generation and up weren't on TikTok like that at the time.
Yeah.
So I start being my authentic self. Like, it was more like therapeutic, like letting these bits of me out that I didn't want people to see. And within a few weeks, I had a following over 100,000. Like, like people love authenticity. They love it
Mm.
because everybody wants to fit the mold. Everybody wants, but here's the thing: is no one fits. No
Yeah,
one.
it's not a like
Yeah.
life is not a cookie cutter type of thing, you know? And I think that's what it is. People try to fit in that, like you said, that mold. I guess my question would be for you, because yes, sometimes the bigger picture takes a bit, for it to come and for the light to come in. What is your advice on people that are on that mid, like they're kind of there, but not really? And sometimes it's an everyday struggle until they kind of get to that point. Like, is there little reminders or things that you would want to like share with people on that every day, like they're on that day by day right now?
One would be, again, keep your vibe in check. So I even wrote about in my book, like a lot of people like okay, pause. Why are you not where you think you should be right now? We are always
Mm,
divinely where we should be right now. So what is it in your mind? What you think that you need to do something better, right?
mm,
What
mm.
no, you need to understand that you have the ambition, you have you are working towards it. And I was going back to what I was saying about what's in my book is the way we feel about others is actually a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. So in my book, I
Mm.
touched on jealousy. So you see somebody who's doing well, and you're sitting
Yeah,
here like, well, I'm busting my and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. How come I'm not getting this break? Why am I here? And they are. What you are doing is you're sending out this frequency
correct.
of limitation. You're limiting yourself because we are all equal to abundance. We are all deserving of abundance. We are
Yes.
all supposed to have these things. So when you get jealous at somebody else, you're telling the universe not everyone deserves abundance because why don't you have it?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it delays your abundance. But by being the person that you like, so when you start winning, how you want others to treat you is how you need to treat literally everyone who is
everyone.
winning. You
Yep,
need to
yep.
encourage everyone who's winning. You need to like anything that you are jealous of, you need to put in check right then and there. And you
Yeah,
need to put yourself in their shoes. And how would you want them to respond if it was you? And in that instant, whatever it is, because that's what really like jealousy is. It's like it's
yeah, correct.
generally a desire. So in that instant, you're putting your desire in check. You're letting the universe know I'm worth this, she's worth this, he's worth this. And you're also building a team because now those other people too are like, that was really nice of her to say. And now all of a
Yeah.
sudden you have another teammate to back you up. So I guess
Mm.
going back to your question, put it in simple terms, would be keep yourself in check. Don't
Every day,
hate on
yeah.
yourself.
Self-awareness.
Don't hate on other people and just be who you are. And I
Yeah, yeah.
guarantee you it all just plays out beautifully.
Yeah, I think, like I was saying, it's like this part of that circle of life. That's the best I'm trying to tell myself, or like tell others, or I can explain it. We're part of all of that. You know what I mean? And so I think that's what I think. Even being too, people can say, "Oh, you're too positive," or "You're putting too much light into something." It's like I am, because I want you to feel what I'm feeling, and so I'm sharing that. And like you said, everybody has a choice. You take it in or you don't. And I'm just
Mhm.
going to be able to do where I am at, and then you can choose to believe what you want to believe, and
But
I'm
who
choosing.
says that to somebody like, oh, you're too positive? Since when is
Yeah,
being positive a bad
the
thing? So
bad
going back
thing.
to the whole
Thank
jealousy
you. Yeah,
thing.
correct,
Yeah.
correct,
So
correct,
going
correct,
back to that, so they're feeling a way towards you. It's not that you're too
correct.
positive. We need that. We
Yeah,
need that. You are never
yeah,
too much. We need what you have to bring. So for someone to say anything point blank period means you've triggered their darkness
yeah,
and
Mhm.
correct.
they're trying to get past their learning block, and you are
Yeah,
just the right person that God put in their path, which is another reminder to why even when things get hard, you're supposed to be in that moment. It's not that you're the problem. When you're minding your business and trying to bring light to the world and doing good,
yeah,
and other people are saying, and other people are giving you a hard time,
yeah,
you're not the problem. What you're
Yeah.
doing once more is you're triggering
yeah,
them. And it's a reminder to not that you are inadequate, but you are exactly where you're supposed to be to make an impact on those around you. If that's what you're trying to call in, changing society, changing the world, bringing joy, bringing positivity, and these people are coming towards you like this, then you are exactly where you need to be in order to change the people and their thought process and get them on your team.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. It's actually recently happened in probably I would have to say maybe 6 months ago. I was at a networking event and somebody that was standing in a group of people that we were talking to turned to me and went, "You've got too much energy. I can't deal with you." And I went, "Maybe you need to vibrate at a higher level."
Oh, shoot.
No, because that's the fact. I knew that what she was doing was just trying to take a jab in order to to lower my vibration. No, I'm not going to lower myself for you. You need to up yourself. You're at a networking event.
Correct.
Get your shit together. Actually get a personality. Get out here. Talk to people. That is the point to this. We've paid a lot of money to be here. If you're going to vibrate low, there's the door.
Right.
I don't, keep it to yourself, do whatever you want. And the lady was taken aback and she walked off. And everyone else in the group went, "Oh, thank God she was harshing my buzz."
That's right.
No, that's like great. But I love this because one, what you said is like one of those zingers that what you said is one of those zingers that's going to replay in her brain. Like she's going to sit there and be like, "Oh, the audacity. Who does Marj think she is?" Meanwhile, she has to replay like, "Oh, wait, I did walk up to her. I said that."
Yeah.
But now we've created a narrative that when we are triggered and we don't know how to respond in a healthy manner, then everyone's going to be like, "Yeah, she was killing my vibe." Now we have gossip going, right? So I'm not saying what you did was wrong, but to take a higher approach would be, why do you think that my energy is too high? And like really break it down in a kind way, accept her into the group. Now we are all friends. And I understand why you think that I'm quote unquote annoying, why I'm vibing too high. And now I'm able to set the record straight. And I'm not being that, like, I'm not doing what you did to me where you were going to try to make me look stupid. Now we are all here. And like, who can hate on you for, like, I love moments like that. People try to come at me and do something terrible. And instead, I adjust it so they feel even more love from myself and everyone around and be like, no. What they said was acceptable. That's how they felt. But now we get to understand why. Why did you feel that way? And it humbles them, and it also makes them. It does make them kind of feel stupid because you have to break it down, because then they have to realize in front of a group of people, like, "Oh shoot, I was being an asshole."
Yeah.
But also they weren't rejected for not responding in the healed manner that they weren't aware of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I definitely have to work on my petty. I have a very smart mouth. I just don't have time for you. Let's just move on to the next thing. There's a reason why we're here. We've got 2 hours. We don't have time to waste. I would rather get the most out of the time that I'm here. So for me, it was very much like, nope, I'm not like, cheers. No, not happening. You keep your energy over there. I don't have time to deal with that right now. It was very much like, that sort of afternoon. But you're right. I do have to actually find a way to communicate that in a way where, because that wasn't my intention was not to embarrass her and to make her walk off. I wanted to shock her. I don't have to react in the same manner and be sassy. I don't have to do, the ordinary Marj thing of having to get that shock out of people. So it is about communication. It is about understanding. It is about, I could have taken that down a route of a lot more understanding. You're right. It was very gossipy. That's how I found out that she's going through a divorce. That's how I found out that her employees aren't happy with her. One of her employees was actually in that group of people that did not walk off with
spell work? Did you know that?
Gossip
is spell work. So what is spell work by witches and what have you, right? It's they cast these words out into the universe, and what is manifestation? Thoughts become things. That's why we use our affirmations. I am whatever. Words. That's why they say like the power of the tongue. Like words are spell work. So when we gossip, we are, and this is why I don't like to engage in gossip, because it's like it's spell work. So if I'm sitting here saying, oh, this person X, Y, and Z, what you're actually doing is you are adding more of X, Y, and Z to their life. And it's a great opportunity when you see people gossip, because a lot of times people will be like, Sarah, like, you don't gossip, like, and they think that I'm like goody two shoe or whatever, and I'm just like, no, I just don't want that karma, because it comes back. Like, it comes back when you put those words out, it comes back. So my thing is when we speak, we should always add value, and we should always be kind. Otherwise, now if somebody is abusing you or something, that's not gossip. That's you saying, I need help and I'm in this situation and I don't know what to do, so please help me. Like, that's not gossip. We should be able to vent. We should be able to, as long as we're not putting those words out. So going back to, like, the spell words, like, I love that you were like, oh, I have my petty one-liners, and I think that that's amazing. Honestly, it's a superpower too. It's a double-edged sword, because it's boundaries, which we, like, some people have a very hard, and like, for you to be able to do that is empowering. It's a gift. But then on the other hand, we also need to be to others. Like, once you said you found out about, her divorce, and her employees don't like her, and you don't even know the woman and you don't like her. No one likes the lady. Like, it's sad when we really think about it, right? Like, so in order to make that change, in order to, like, we need to watch our words. And I'm not a saint. Like, there are times where we all get triggered, but again, we're pulling in people to trigger us intentionally with purpose.
Yeah. And that's so right. It was actually a trigger to me, because that actually occurred maybe about, that was probably about 6 months after I'd actually left my job, like the toxic environment that I was in. And the one thing that was constantly talking to me, you're too loud, you're too happy, you're like, why are you laughing?
Meanwhile, you were getting prescribed antidepressants. That's wild. Yes.
Yeah, when I actually told people at work that I was, diagnosed with PTSD, and I was actually suffering from depression and anxiety due to my work, because they're two separate things. The PTSD was trauma, it was triggered by something else from my childhood. The depression and anxiety was purely from my workplace. Like, we associated and kind of went, okay, we know where each thing comes from, which was why the doctor actually was like, the depression tablets were not for the PTSD. That was not going to help. I wasn't depressed because of the dreams and the vision, like the things that I was reliving and things like that. I was depressed because whenever I was trying to get happy and I would go into the office, it's like I was always putting up that front. I'm going to pretend, fake it till you make it. My work people don't need to know what I'm going through internally. If I need a mental health day, I would just say I need a mental health day. You don't need to know what I'm actually going through. You are my employer, colleagues, work colleagues, things like that. That's as far as I wanted to take it. My close personal friends, I would talk to it and actually, talk to about all these things and release. But work didn't know. So to them, it was a bit of a shock when I said, okay, I've actually been put on bed rest for a week. I'm not working. I've got to work on myself for a little bit. They were actually in shock, checking in, making, seeing if I was okay, all that sort of stuff. And during that time, it felt really fake. It just didn't feel right. It felt like it was very
nosy,
forced. Yeah, like what's going? Yeah, nosy. Like what they just wanted to know what was happening. And my boss said, "Oh, you know that you get low because you get too high."
Oh, you're my doctor now. You're my boss and my doctor.
And my doctor. He was like, you just, maybe if you weren't so happy all the time. It's like, this is why people, and he mentioned stuff about like why people go and unalive themselves and how, their mental state and things like that. Fast forward to the future, he lost somebody very close to him because they unalived themselves, and that was their karmic, their own karma.
It goes back to the spell work I was saying. Like it's so when all those people were sitting here and you were able to decipher who's here for me and who's being nosy. So the nosy ones go, and now like they're whatever. But here's the karma or the karmic part. Now you no longer work for this company. Now you are starting a new adventure. Now you are you're the things that made you too different, too whatever, the things that make you you. You are putting on blast to better the world for the people again, just like you who needed you. Like now that's the karmic part. Now that your boss ended up losing, like they're sitting here probably bitching about your work performance. Marj can't get it together. Oh, she's too sad. She just needs to do this and that. This is
My
why
number
people
one
unalive
stalker.
themselves. Then all of a sudden, that person loses someone close to them for unaliving themselves.
Yeah.
And you get to share the story of how you were mistreated and misunderstood while you rise to your greatness.
Yeah.
That's the spell work and the karma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? I am so grateful though for that happening.
Yeah.
As horrific as like that experience was, I'm so grateful for that happening, because had that not happened, I wouldn't have started my own business. Had that not happened, I wouldn't have been contracted. I would not know Heinna.
I
Had that
know.
not happened, Heinna and I would not know each other. This podcast would not be happening right now.
Correct.
Because
Pain
we
has
only
purpose,
met
don't
through the things that we both went through the things that aligned us. Like, you know, she was going through that the turmoil of, you know, I need a little bit of extra income. Let me find a job that can kind of fill in that gap. She did. I was contracted to the same place. The universe aligned us perfectly to meet, to actually. And then, you know, when she left, then my contract had finished. We stayed in contact. We stayed in touch. We align. Like, we vibrated on that same level of, we're not the same personality. We're very different people, but we have that sort of energy of, we want better for ourselves. We want better for our families. We want good things to come out of life. We understand that gratitude is important. We have, you know, the morals and values, the base things that you need in a relationship, friendships and things like that. We realize that we have that in each other. So, like, we have that aligned.
I don't know if you guys know what light workers are. Do you guys know what a light worker is?
No.
You're both light workers. You're healers is what you are. And we heal on different ways. You know, there are shamans who practice with medicines and whatever, but there are those people who do yoga and meditate. You two are healers, and what's activating the healing is your voice, your listening. You are healing a generation that has been misunderstood for a very long time, and we're filling in the blanks and the gaps. That's happening for a lot of light workers right now. Is exactly what you're saying. We're taking these leaps. We've just faced these times where it was like how and why and what, and then we take this leap, and it almost makes us feel borderline insane. And can I actually do it? But the more we take these leaps, the more you're going to call in your soul tribe. So the fact that you guys are collaborating together shows that you guys are a part of the soul tribe, and you guys have a very similar reason or passion to be doing what you're doing. You're not just doing this to hear yourselves talk, right? No, you don't want, right? There's a reason you're doing what you're doing. And it's because, again, you guys are healers, you're light workers. And the more you keep taking these leaps, the more your soul tribe is going to come in. The more we can stay grounded and start giving to others what we need in return. When people, like I said, I'm not all the way healed. I'll pop off sometimes still. But with the work that I've done, like how I just said everything to you about, you know, why did you act that way? Because of that work is getting into the world. So when I do pop off, now I have other people being like, Sarah, what was that for? When before it'd be the gossip train, or it would be now it's kind of like, I know that's out of character for you. What's going on? And I need help healing too. We're all doing this, and we are all being called to rise right now. It's a huge thing in the Divine Feminine Collective right now. And I'm so very excited to see where you both end up going. I really am. I'm very honored to be here with you both today. And I really, that way one day looking back, I can say, like, I got to do an interview with them. But you know what, whatever. We're gonna go out for mimosas at some point, do brunch. This is gonna be like a thing.
Yeah, let's go. I'm so down. Mimosas are my favorite.
Love it.
No, and I think you're right. Like, I think it's just that it's weird, right? Because even Marj and I, like, we even didn't realize how we haven't known each other for so long, but we connected so hard. It was weird,
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's what it, I guess what you said. And I'd love to go deeper in that, what you were saying in regards to, like, that, because I think for both of us, I mean, I don't want to speak for March also, but like for both of us, we know that there's what, there's this thing and there's higher to us. And I think I'm still trying to learn about like higher power and like what you said, like where things fall into place. Where do you feel like people can look into learning more about that? I mean, I think this is more of a question for myself. Like, where would they want to
More
learn
about
more?
One, get
Um,
Sarah's book.
yeah. Well, yeah, there you go. Like learn about like what you
Donnie and the
do.
Reality
Dice,
Right.
designer.
You're like, let me tell you. Yeah, I guess, but yeah,
toolbox
this
for
one.
reality
Yeah.
only you can design.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that's what it is. How can, like, how did you get into this? Like, would love to see how people can connect with you and see what, see the difference of what you do, or kind of, I'm so lost for words today, but how can they do what you do? Not do exactly what you do, but like connect with you, heal with you, and like learn to better themselves. Like, well, how did you start this journey? I guess it would be.
Everything we covered today, be your authentic self. Pain has purpose. You are not a victim. You are a warrior, and there is no reason why you've been up against the things that you've been up against for no reason. In my opinion, my higher power is not that cruel. There's always purpose, and follow your joy. What is it that sparks your creativity? Like, that's really it. It's have confidence in who you are made to be. You are precious. You are important. Your voice matters. There's a change in the world in which you seek, and you're doing something about it, and you think that's going to go unrecognized. That's wild. Why? So just keep following your calling. Have faith. Be forgiving to yourself and others, and just keep growing. You can connect with me on TikTok. I'm actually very interactive with my followers. My content is very random. Going back to being authentic, I don't have a niche. My niche is me. I am the niche. So if I want to
There
post
you go.
something about, if I want to post and I'm going to sing in my bathroom, guess what? La la la, bitch. Like that's what we're going to do. So
That's
I love
right. I love
that.
that.
Yes.
But here's the thing too, is I also offer like spirit messages, and some of my messages will hit with you and some of them
Mm,
won't. But the intention is when my content crosses your timeline, it connects, and it offers something that you needed just in that moment. And like I said, like if you were looking to connect with me more, I love interactions on all my social media platforms. Not everything I post will be for you, but if you were to ever reach out, I don't ignore anybody. Sometimes it takes me a while to get back because my inbox gets full, but that's why I'm here. I don't want, I would like to be a public figure that doesn't seem far of reach. I want to be like, this life isn't something, yes, I want my life to be glamorous, but it's not out of reach for anybody. Like if you
mm,
want to connect with me, let's go. Like you want to do the
mm.
same thing I'm doing, I'll encourage you. This
Yeah.
is we need to do this together. So I guess like what you were saying, if there was a way to connect with me, it'd be that. And then yeah, just believe in yourself. And it doesn't matter what you believe in as long as it's for good. Like
I love that.
don't try to believe that you can jump off of your roof and fly away, because we know that that's not a thing.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
if you
Yeah.
want to believe that taking this leap, I mean, spending that money on that training is going to better your life. So take that leap, spend that money that you think that you don't have, and watch the money get returned to you from the knowledge that you gain. Just trust yourself and be
Yeah.
kind to yourself.
Yeah. But definitely your book has so many great tips, so many things, like so many tools in there that it's just a nice reminder. Even if you know, it's just a nice reminder to reread. It's a nice
Mm,
reminder to
mm,
reset your brain.
mhm.
There's so many tips in there about manifestation, about mindset, and just about resetting yourself, being authentically you. I highly
Mm,
recommend to all of our listeners, download the book. Like I said, it's
yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
hour. It took me an hour and 15 minutes to read. It was absolutely amazing. It's something that I'm actually going to probably reread in probably another couple months time. I love doing that sort of stuff because I like to see how I've changed and grown in that sort
I
of time
love
period as
that.
well.
Yeah.
There are so many things in here that it just really opened my mind. I love the fact that you actually had started the book with, your story, like all the things, like all the things that had happened to you in a sort of
Mm,
negative aspect. It opens up your mind for the rest of the book to actually understand that these things are achievable. You know,
mhm.
seeing death, seeing, being homeless, having so many, downfalls, and having to restart at different points of your life again and again and again. It's stuff that we always look back and kind of think to ourselves, oh, this isn't where I wanted to be at this time, at at this
Yeah.
time of my life. I thought I'd be here instead of here. I thought I'd be, in a different position. I thought I'd be married. I thought I'd be single. I thought I'd be this. I thought I'd be that. But the reality is, it's like we're in the place where we need to be at that point in time.
Yeah.
Reinventing ourselves is forever. Forever. The second that you stop, you restart. I was watching this little clip thing about Rihanna on YouTube, and they were basically going through every single one of her albums. She's
Mm,
reinvented herself. She's
Mm.
changed herself. She doesn't have 10 R&B albums. Every single one is different. She's reinvented herself with every single one. She's, depending on what she's going through in her
mm,
lifetime. And I
mm.
loved seeing that because I was like, even though this happens to celebrities too, she's a billionaire and she's still reinventing herself. So for
Mm.
us that aren't at that level of life, like how we can do that too. That we can
Well,
we
also
can literally just elevate. You're at the
the
bottom. There's
more
only up from here.
you the more you repress your authentic self and your authentic callings, the more you are blocking what is divinely yours. So, and like how you were saying, like
Oh,
how
Yeah.
Rihanna has to reinvent herself because if she had this, you can't keep the same record out and have a number one song going. It's the same song. No one's. So what you have to do is again. So if you're not
yeah. Mm,
honoring your authentic self, making moves that will truly show the world who you are unapologetically.
Yeah.
If you could just do that and make the changes, because if you don't change anything, nothing changes. So how in the hell are you supposed to reach a place that you've never been while doing the same thing? Rihanna didn't keep putting
Yes.
the same CD
yeah.
out. She wanted to reach new
Exactly.
heights, so she released new versions of herself
Correct.
that
Yeah.
Exactly.
that
Her
showed another
authentic
side
self
of
at
her.
that
Yeah.
stage in life.
And it's going to forever change. We are never the same person. I'm going to be a different person tomorrow. I'll probably be a different person as soon as I press the end button on this podcast.
Yeah.
We are forever changing, and that's okay. Just continue to be your authentic self. Continue to keep reaching. Continue to learn, grow, reinvent yourself. It's all going to work out.
Yeah.
Every dream that you have is possible as long as you believe in it. You're the only person who's going to stop it.
Yeah.
Mm,
And not
mm.
being the person that you want to be will never, ever bring your dreams into existence. That's just silly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very true. I love that. Love that. Love that. Well, if any of our listeners want to get a reading or want to talk to Sarah, please connect with her. We will have all the links in the description. We will
Yep. Yeah.
also put the link to her book. Again, if you don't read
Yes.
it, I'm going to get upset. I think everyone needs to read it. Like I said, it literally only takes an hour. It only takes an hour. Like it's such a good read. It is precise. It's not like you have to read 10 chapters to get to the point. Every single chapter has its own points, has its own meanings and things like that. Absolutely amazing. Highly, highly recommend. I believe you can get them on Amazon across the world.
Yes.
It shouldn't be limited. I've downloaded mine on Kindle. Absolutely amazing. This has been such an amazing conversation. We will have to get you back on for another chat
Yes.
later on down the track.
Yep.
I would love to
Yeah.
come back. You ladies were
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
This has
And actually
been
see the progress as well for each of us, so that'd be
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I cannot wait to see where you ladies go. You guys are both so energetically strong. You guys are both headed. It's, I'm not going to say it's the blind leading the blind, but kind of like you guys have made fantastic progress in your journey thus far without anyone teaching you how to get here. No one held your hand and said, hey, this is what we're going to do. And you guys are really making great progress. I love what you're putting out into the world. Please keep creating. And I can't wait to come back and talk with you guys again soon.
We cannot wait to have you back. This has been an absolute pleasure. Is there anything else that you would like to say to our listeners before we end the stream?
I'm sending you all love, light, and truth on your journey. Please remember, be kind to yourselves and to others.
I love that. Beautiful. Beautiful last words.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time today. We will talk soon.
Bye.
And that wraps up another episode of the Relatable Bitches podcast. We hope you enjoyed our chat today and found something that's resonated with you.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. It really helps us reach more relatable bitches like you.
And remember, you can connect with us on social media. All links are in the description.
Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep it real and stay relatable.